Hey everyone, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Keith, and today I have back Amber Romaniuk to the podcast. Amber, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you for having me again. I'm absolutely so pumped to be with you today.
I feel like you're our resident like hormone expert and all the things, binge eating and stress and all that stuff. Like you're my go-to. So I
Yay.
wanted you to come on because we're headed into we're in holiday season
Hmm.
already, which is just wild. We were just talking before we recorded about how the time is going by so fast. I don't even know how
Yeah.
we're already getting to the holidays. But this time of year, it's so fun and I love the holidays and I'm especially Christmas. I get so
Yeah.
into it. But at the same time, it's also very stressful. There's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and a lot of overindulging, which I've
Mhm.
already unfortunately started with because we had Halloween. But before Halloween even starts, there's like all these different trunk or treats for the kids and
Yeah.
school Halloween party. And then I find myself late at night, like, oh, that Reese's, I'll just eat one little Reese's. And then that turns into like two or three. And now I'm breaking out and I'm just like, how did I get here? Why am I
Yeah.
doing this to myself? But I feel like it's so common.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so common. Do you know? Okay, here's a quick question for you. Do you know why you eat those things and then you break out?
I really don't. I mean, I know the sugar must have something to do with it, but I don't know like the mechanism happening.
Yeah, so long story short, because I think a lot of your audience will resonate with this too, and this used to be me too, so I can so relate, is when we eat sugar and we have any unhealthy gut bacteria, it feeds that unhealthy gut bacteria, and our skin is our biggest detoxification organ. So you're trying to actually detox some of that sugar or whatever ingredients were in what you ate, and not just through, bowel movements and urine, but through our skin. And so some of that unhealthy bacteria actually gets trapped in our skin. And that's part of what triggers the breakout. So it's actually something called Candida dominant acne or pimples or breakout. So taking a good probiotic daily is helpful for that. And then at some point, when it's not a holiday season, doing a very gentle protocol to balance your gut bacteria. So if you do eat a bit of sugar here and there, it doesn't cause breakouts.
Okay, I have a question. Do you, and it's okay if you don't, but do you have a probiotic brand that's like your go-to? Because I feel like I was looking at them the other day and then I got so overwhelmed
Yeah.
because there'll be great reviews, but then there'll be like horrible reviews. And I'm like, I don't even know what to take. And so, what's your go-to for that?
Totally, yeah. And I'm happy to provide a link to your listeners because I'm always recommending supplements to my clients and there are specific brands that are really good and ones that are just like full of it. So my favorite one is Designs for Health. They are made in the United States and Canada and they have distributors for both. But ideally we want to start with 50 billion bacteria per capsule, which is a really good dose. And it has 10 to 12 plus strains, which means lots of different kinds of flora to go and repopulate the good bacteria. And I always suggest taking it at bedtime. Obviously, disclaimer for listeners, like if you're taking medications or anything that can interfere, always check with your healthcare practitioner first before starting anything. Usually there's no issues unless you're taking antibiotics and you have to take probiotics 4 hours away. Otherwise, probiotics won't be effective. So at bedtime, Designs for Health, I can send you the link, and anyone that is interested in getting it also gets 30% off because all my clients get 30% off. So I might as well share the love.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I literally was like panicking, and I'm sure people can relate to this too. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I know I need a good probiotic, so I'm just gonna order it. And then just panicking because I'm like, these all sound great, but they also sound terrifying, when you look at reviews and stuff. So it's good to hear from an expert. And I have another question for you.
Yeah.
So if my body is clearly like trying to detox the sugar and I'm breaking out, what about the lymphatic system? Is
Mm,
that the same thing? Because behind my ear, it's like the lymph node is like inflamed. And
mhm.
I was getting panicked, like, is this a tumor? Do I need to, which I should go get it checked out, but the doctor's like, just give it a few weeks to see because it's
Yeah.
probably like your system just needs to like clear out. And so
Yeah.
now I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably all connected to the gut.
Can very well be. And so, yeah, sugar is inflammatory. Everything in moderation. It's not about we can't have sugar, but we have to understand a lot of these Halloween treaties are full of processed ingredients that fuel inflammation. So they feed the unhealthy gut bacteria and they will cause some inflammation in the gut and the body. It doesn't mean you're getting bloated. It may cause bloating and gas for some of you, but you may have no actual digestive symptoms. Instead, for you, maybe the skin breakouts. It may be a cyst or an enlarged lymph node. 100%. I had one a couple years ago and it felt like a lump. And then a few weeks later, it was gone and it was inflammation and that stress. And so, what happens when we eat sugar, we have inflammation in the body, is it actually slows down our body's ability to drain the lymph more efficiently. Inflammation makes things sluggish.
Mm,
So it can slow
okay.
our lymph down, and that can be part of that buildup. And then, if we look at things from a hormonal standpoint, just briefly, if your thyroid is sluggish, or your cortisol is too high, or your estrogen is too high, those things can also slow down your lymph and cause more of a buildup as well. And again, inflammation stresses out hormones and often contributes to that sluggishness. So, this is where we want to find that, like, what is that happy moderation for me and what my body can tolerate with indulgence. And then, like, when have I crossed the line? And I'm not specifically saying you, but just for anyone listening, like, when am I crossing the line and my body's going, this is too much? And I'm ignoring it because I'm chasing the dopamine high that the sugar is giving me because sugar is 10 times more addictive than cocaine,
Yeah.
right? So,
Well, yeah. And I remember hearing about how in the 90s, like the cigarette companies knew like
yeah,
cigarettes are going to have this label. So they bought up all the
yeah,
food companies and used the same scientists to figure
yeah,
out how do we make food just as addicting as cigarettes. So I really do feel like it is addicting. Like you have
mhm,
one and it's like before you know it, just completely without even consciously realizing it, you've had like three
yeah.
or four. And it's like, why am I doing this to myself? But you
And the
can't,
other, oh, sorry,
can't
go ahead.
stop. No, go
I
ahead.
know. And the other smart, sneaky thing that they do, because you know all about this, is they make them small. So our ego mind, that inner critic is like, well, they're small. So like you can have more than one. You can have three or four. You can have five, like with the Halloween candy and then like all the Christmas chocolates and stuff, because there's this justification of, well, it's small. So like
Mhm.
have more, right? So that I
Yes.
think they also do that on purpose to like get you into a few so that it feels harder to stop,
Oh yeah.
right?
It's so true. And this is kind of like the dark side to this time of year because it is
Yeah.
one thing after another. It's like
Yeah.
you have Halloween, and then now, I don't know, I just, maybe it's just me, but I feel like in our society, it's like Halloween ends and Christmas starts, even though there's,
Yes.
in the US, we have Thanksgiving in there.
Yeah.
And so you just go right into all of these traditions that all seem to center around food or parties and alcohol.
Hmm.
And it's just a whole season of
Yeah.
overindulging. And I think that's where it gets dangerous because it's like hard to say no when, there's so many different things going on.
Yeah.
So let's just dive into all of that too. So the sugar is causing that inflammation
Yeah.
that is making our hormones go wacky, right?
Yeah.
But then the stress as well, right? Like from the
100%.
holiday season, because and I'm speaking for myself here. I feel like all year long, I'm pretty good. I watch what I eat and like not that I never eat anything bad, but I can stay on track.
Yeah.
And then this time of year hits and it's just like I'm out of control. And I don't, it's like a switch flips in my brain and it's like, well, it's the holidays. Like I have to. This is a tradition to like bake cookies and do stuff
Yeah.
all the time. And things get out of control really quick. So there's that aspect of it. And then there's the stress of having a million different parties you have to go to, gatherings, things you have to host, school
Hmm.
activities for the kids. And as much as it's, you want to say like it's joyful and it's great, and it is, there is a lot of stress and
Yeah.
baggage that comes with that. And that can mess up our hormones as well,
Oh
right?
yeah. 100%. And you give you more cravings and throw your blood sugar off and make it easier to justify why you should have the fourth cookie, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's something I
So,
want to touch on though that you
yeah.
just said about this switch flips. You are 100% right. So when we associate certain times of year with indulgence and the holidays is really easy because like you said, it's like Halloween. American Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's like back to back. And so if you have associated the holidays with indulging on a regular basis and you kind of have a mentality of, oh, it's the holidays, whatever, I'll pick back up with my healthy habits in the new year, or I'll go on the diet in January, or it's too hard, so I'm just gonna like free for all until, for the next 8 weeks. You literally are wiring a neural pathway in your brain that is the holiday pathway that is built and grows. And so each year when the holidays come again, if you stay in the same behaviors, overindulging, lacking boundaries, overcommitting, starting, the diet again in the new year, you are literally going to keep growing and strengthening that pathway. And the only time it lights up is when the holidays come in because it's a time sensitive calendar neural pathway. And this is one of the reasons why it can feel hard to have balance or be intentional with food. Because if that pathway is lighting up, being like, it's time for you to do this, like you indulge, like you don't care, or it's harder, or you lose control. That's literally the part of the brain that is governing the choices that you're making. And that was one of the last triggers that I had to heal because I wasn't emotionally eating anymore any other time. And then the holidays would come and I'd be like, why do I want to eat everything all of a sudden? Why does it feel so hard? And then I realized that the only time I could dissolve and break down that old holiday neural pathway that wasn't supportive anymore and build a new, more mindful one was actually having to go through the season and try to navigate it differently. So there is a literal switch that is flipping on for people, whether it is overindulgence, their people pleasing is coming online more and they feel like they have to buy a Christmas gift for everyone and their neighbor's dog because otherwise someone's going to be offended. You feel pressured. You have to spend so much money. You have to decorate the house perfectly, like, and commit to all these things. So whatever your holiday pathways are that you always reflect upon at the end of the holidays and go, I wish I would have done that differently. I feel burnt out now. I feel in regret or guilt because I overdid it. Like, think about that now. Think
Mhm.
about January 2025 and your reflection back on the 2024 holiday season. What did you not like? What didn't go well? What would you wish you did differently? Because right now, while we're on the cusp, this is a great time to pull out your journal, reflect on what you didn't like and what didn't work, and go, how do I want to feel this year? What do I want to do differently? What boundaries do I want to set? Do I want to have a max amount of commitments, right? Do I want to set more of a fixed budget for how much I'm going to spend? Do I want to work on people pleasing and saying no instead of saying yes to everybody and making sure I'm keeping my self care practice going? Or I want to commit to like indulging only like once or twice a week. Like I want to work on healing my relationship with food, whatever it is, but like pick one or two things. And it's like, how do I want to feel when January hits? Emotionally, physically, energetically. And then you can start thinking about what do you want to do differently?
hmm No, most of my life, I never was really mindful in making the connection of food and how it makes me feel. Like
Yeah.
I literally, it was so obvious, but I just was oblivious to it. And so, like, I'll give an example of something that I switched that really has helped me. And now that you're saying this, like, this is what I need to do with the holiday, like, food aspect is like ice cream, for example. I love like going and getting, like Cold Stone or something like that, where they mix
Nice.
in all the different things,
Yeah.
right? But then I've made the connection where if I eat that, I am going to feel terrible for like 4 days. I mean, it
Hmm.
is like I'll feel great in that moment, but then it'll be like the next day, the day after that, I feel sluggish. I
Hmm.
feel bloated. Like my jeans don't fit. Like it's wild, the
Yeah.
impact of just that one thing of ice cream. So now I ask myself, like, is it worth feeling terrible for 4 days? No. Is it okay once in a while? Yeah. But like that's helped me to be like, yeah, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
That's the connection now. I need to make that connection with the holidays. That's what's missing.
Totally. And so you may want to set up a few like reminders a week to just check in and be like, how am I feeling about this?
hmm
Right? Remind myself what are the choices I want to make and what is the intent behind it because it's so easy to get caught up in it. And in that moment when we're going to order that ice cream or eat that cookie or whatever it is, we're not thinking about the days afterward. We're thinking about the dopamine high we're about to have, the reward feeling we're about to have, the pleasure, the euphoria, the traditional moment, right? Like all of that is all we think about. And so That's because the brain is wired for pleasure and to remind you of pleasure. Remember last year when you ate that and how good you felt? There's no part of the brain that remembers the bloating, the pants fitting tighter, it taking 4 days for it to clear to your body,
Yeah.
right? And so that's why all these food companies are so good at like getting people to overdo it because they know how the brain works and they know that their food is being designed to give the perfect dopamine high, that perfect pleasure response. And the more we eat it, the more poor we feel, and it lowers our mood and it suppresses our dopamine and serotonin mood boosting neurotransmitters. And then we want it even more because we are convinced it's the only thing that's going to help us feel better, give us a quick boost of energy. Oh, it's limited edition. It's the only time I can get it. So I'm going to eat as much as I can now, right? And we just gain all these justifications. But if we knew how the overindulgence was impacting our mood and our neurotransmitters and our hormones and our blood sugar, right? And then it ultimately impacts our choices. The more we eat, the more we want it, the more it snowballs. We could again come up with more intentional practices through the season. And I love, like you said, like, is it worth the 4 days of suffering? And not only does it impact you, like the things you just said, it impacts your frequency drops.
Hmm.
That's one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
reasons you feel more sluggish. You're not as tapped into source.
Hmm.
So I'm the same way. I'm like, am I willing to not feel as tapped in the next few days? Am I willing
Right.
to have brain fog and fatigue and not feel my optimal?
Yeah.
No. And and can you find a better recipe? Can you use natural sugars in your gingerbread cookie recipe? Like that's my favorite thing to make. I love making gingerbread with the little cookie cutters. We have like
Yes.
all the shapes, the Christmas shapes.
I like doing that with my kids. I'm like, that's like a
Yes.
tradition. But then I'm like, but it's
Yes.
everything's a tradition around food.
Yeah. And so we can look to make other traditions outside of food, but then we can add better ingredients. So I totally morph my gingerbread cookie recipe and I use monk fruit instead of sugar. You could use coconut sugar as well. But then it doesn't spike the blood sugar. So then it's you
Yeah.
like you eat one and you don't want to eat all of them. And then I use really good goat butter or grass-fed butter. So it's right, you've got your good fat. And then I use really good molasses and all the spices. And like I eat one and I'm satiated and I don't want more. Right.
Yeah.
So part of it is can you add more natural sweeteners and ingredients to your recipes so that you can still enjoy it, but it's not going to give you a huge sugar crash and then
Hmm.
increase your cravings. And then, yeah, let's make some non-food traditions. What about like making traditions around like decorating your house or crafting or like certain like reading a certain book? Are you going to go out and go caroling? Are you going to go snowmobiling or tobogganing or like
Hmm.
make a snowman? Like enjoying the ambiance of interacting with the people around you and like taking a lot of the emphasis off of the food and actually that there's so many other things to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And as you shift that, you do feel more detached from the food piece. You can still enjoy some of it, but I feel like instead of it being like 90% of the focus, it becomes like 10%.
Hmm.
And there's so many other amazing things to like immerse yourself in the holidays as well.
Yeah. And the other part of that too with finding healthier ingredients is even just making it at home with like regular sugar is better than going and buying whatever the seasonal thing is at the store, which I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
you knew this. I didn't know this until recently that if you have just plain sugar, that is way better than like the high fructose corn syrup that's in everything
Oh,
here
yeah.
will spike your sugar levels. I forget how much more, but I was like astonished when I heard that. It's like through the roof. It's not the same as using just regular sugar. So we've tried to do that at home where even if we're using sugar, like we're making everything at home, we know exactly what's
Yeah.
in the baked good rather than the like literally at the store. We'll go to the grocery store and in the bakery where they bake it there is a label that says contains what is it called? Geoengineered food
Mm-hmm.
or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this even real
GMOs.
food?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great tip. Make it at home with the ingredient,
Yes.
like real ingredients, so you know what's in it, and that alone can make a huge shift.
100%. Yeah. Homemade is the best anyway. And then you get to look forward to that tradition and you can always freeze some of it, give some of it away,
Hmm.
right? But for some people, a big trigger is making it themselves and having it in the house.
Yeah.
That visual trigger, even if you know it's in the freezer, like that was another rough trigger for me to overcome because if I knew it was there, I wanted to keep eating it and I'd walk by and grab another cookie, walk by and grab another chocolate. And the next thing you know, I've had like 10 cookies in the last 3 hours and I'm like bloated and in pain. And so part of it for any of you that are like really deep into binge or emotional eating or you have a sugar addiction is to get really honest with yourself and go, do I have the capacity to have a lot of things in my house right now that could make me feel really vulnerable to food and make me feel triggered nonstop? And if I don't, then ideally, if I'm going to bake, give a bunch of it away, right?
Mhm.
Send some of it with your husband to work, take some with you, like have a little bit so you can enjoy it. But if you're like, if I make that, I'm going to eat most of it in the next day or two, like you also want to be honest with yourself and go, is it the right time to do that? And ideally get help healing your relationship with food so you can enjoy it and have it in the house and not feel like you're going to go eat most of it, right? Like
Yeah.
I went through that. I had to be so honest with myself and be like, you know what? This year, I just know deep down that if I bake, I'm going to eat it all. And then I'm going to feel absolutely horrible. And it's going to make me feel more vulnerable to other things because I'm going to have bigger cravings.
Yeah.
And then I healed that. And then I was able to start, easing more into that. So it just depends on the severity of your addiction. And then I also think there's some things we can do if you do end up eating a little too much sugar, drinking a little too much alcohol to help balance your blood sugar. Because this is the biggest miss. If we don't balance our blood sugar, the cravings get bigger and the appetite gets bigger. If after an indulgent meal, we can eat up to 40% more at the next meal if we don't make sure our blood sugar
Wow.
is re-regulated.
So how do you do that? How do you
Yeah.
re-regulate? Because
So
we're,
there's a
we're going to do it at some point in the holiday season where we're going to
totally. Yeah.
overindulge.
Of course. Yeah, that's like my Christmas Eve. We have this most wonderful like dinner with all the Ukraine like pierogies and listenki. It's all these like floury things along with turkey and stuff. But so the next day I'm like hard on the protein. So after you indulge, if you have indulged earlier in the day, then I suggest first off, stay hydrated, drink lots of water. If you want to make it pretty, throw mint and orange and cranberries in it, like make it look really festive, right? Infuse it, put electrolytes in it to replenish all the minerals that you're peeing out from drinking too much, right?
Yeah.
So those are little tips, but you got to eat enough protein and fat because those are the nutrients that are going to stabilize your blood sugar. So for example, sugar breaks down in your stomach within 30 minutes or less. Same with fruits. Vegetables break down in an hour. Fats, so like avocados, raw nuts and seeds, egg yolks, fatty fish, things like that, take an hour and a half to 3 hours to break down. And animal proteins take 3 to 6 hours to digest in your
Oh,
stomach,
wow.
which means, again, protein and fat are going to help break down sugars more slowly. So, ideally, making sure that you're eating breakfast, eating regularly through the day. Do not fast until your holiday dinner, thinking you
That's
need to
what I
save
feel like
yourself.
so many people do. Like
I
I do
know.
that
I
usually.
used to do that. Yeah. But the problem is when you skip meals to save yourself, you end up way too hungry by the time the meal comes. You probably are in a blood sugar crash and it sets you up so much more easily to overeat.
Mm.
And then you feel uncomfortable. So eat breakfast, eat lunch, even have a snack before you go to your thing. Eating regularly will keep blood sugar stable. And if your blood sugar is stable, your mood is more stable, your cravings are less, and you're far less likely to overeat. And then add protein and fat to your meal. So after you indulge, say you indulge in the evening, the next day, make sure you have protein and fat with each meal. So have eggs with breakfast or have like one of my favorites because I'm a smoothie gal is the beef protein powder. It's so
Oh,
good. It's like eating a
really?
steak. It's so blood sugar stabilizing. And because it's coming from grass-fed organic cow, because it's beef based,
Hmm.
it doesn't hurt your stomach. It doesn't cause bloating and gas like the plant proteins or the whey proteins, and it's like very organic. So I will make a smoothie and put like my couple scoops of that. So I've got like 40 grams of protein, and then I add half an avocado, some berries, some cinnamon, ginger, my coconut milk, and I've got a very blood sugar friendly morning smoothie. Or you again could do eggs. You could put protein in oatmeal, but and then making sure like there's always leftovers. So have turkey, ham, whatever those meat leftovers are with lunch and dinner, and have a fat source. So again, raw nuts, seeds, nut butters, fatty fish, egg yolks, hard boiled eggs, avocados, oils like olive or coconut or avocado. These things will help stabilize your blood sugar. It was a game changer to start adding more protein and fat after indulging, enough hydration, And if your tummy's bothering you, sip on a ginger, peppermint, or a turmeric tea to just help aid in that good digestion and chew your food slowly.
Yeah.
Put your fork down between bites so that you can actually become aware of when you're full. Eat your meal slowly. Eat your dessert slowly. You will feel more satiated physically and emotionally and be less likely to want to go and pick and overdo it. Like my family's hilarious. They'll watch me. I'll like take my little piece of gingerbread cake for dessert and my two or three little chocolates. And I'll sit down and I'm like there for like a half an hour, just like enjoying. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're so slow. I'm like, yeah, because I'm enjoying this. And if I do it like this, I feel emotionally satiated and physically satiated, and I've had enough. If I eat it really fast, then I'm going to feel like I need more, but I actually don't. So it's all about also bringing in that mindfulness and slowing down. Converse with the people around you while you're eating. Put your fork down. Take a sip of whatever you're drinking. Like, take your time.
I think that also has to do with regulating your nervous system because,
Mm-hmm.
again, like you were saying in the beginning, we have sort of like brainwashed ourselves to think, oh, the holidays, we can
Mm-hmm.
indulge. It's this neural pathway.
Yeah.
I think our society in general, it's the same thing with rushing. Everything has to
Yeah.
be fast. You have to constantly go, 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 do, do, do. And that's, very much associated with like success and not being lazy when really
Yeah.
you have to slow down. You have to take a breath and
Yeah.
ground yourself. And I think we've gotten so far away from that in our society. And I think that's maybe another tip for what you do ahead of time to plan out your day. Like before you go to the holiday party or the
Yeah.
Thanksgiving meal or whatever, go outside, ground yourself, or
Yes.
just do some deep breathing. Because if you don't, you are probably going to eat a lot faster and rush and
Mm-hmm.
not fully just like breathe and enjoy the meal in front of you.
100%. Yeah. And that's why I also say don't skip the meals because if you're too hungry, you're going to eat too fast and then you're going to overeat. So, both of those things, we've got to slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that's new for me because I've always been like, I am the type of person where my mom's always like, sit down. Like, you're always like
Yeah.
standing and moving.
Right.
And it's been really hard for me. But now that I kind of understand, like, yeah, that's not helping me. I do need to
Yeah.
take a breath and I do need to slow down. It's just one of those things that you're in a habit. You have to consciously
Yeah.
remind yourself and make a new habit. Brainwash
Yes.
yourself in a positive way,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. And if you need to set reminders or again, like look at your schedule now for the rest of the year, weekends, holiday commitments, what is coming up, and block time for self-care, self-reflection, for nervous system regulation and grounding. Block it in your schedule and make it a non-negotiable. Even if you're going away to visit family, you can excuse yourself to your bedroom that you're staying in and go take some time for yourself. Get out for a walk. Like it's up to you to take that ownership responsibility and go, I'm an adult. It's my responsibility to open up some time and make sure I keep some time for myself,
Yeah.
right? Because we can get caught up in that busyness, but it's like, well, if I plan ahead and I do a little schedule blocking,
Hmm.
I can set myself up for more success.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing, and this doesn't really have to do with eating, but I was thinking about this morning because, um, I think nowadays with social media and like Pinterest and everything, there's so much of this kind of like, I guess, social pressure for everything to be perfect. Like, get the
Yeah.
latest, like, whatever the latest style is for Christmas decor, and everything has to like have its place and look perfect. And just all of that kind of stuff, too. It's like,
Yeah.
I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, do I really need to go and buy new stuff? No. And I was thinking back to when I was a kid, like some of my best memories from the holidays are pulling out our Christmas decorations that we literally had the same decorations
Yeah.
for my entire childhood.
Yeah.
And it was like that was so special. It's like this is the ornament that I made in second grade and like
Yeah.
well, this is the decoration we've always had. It's like part of the family
Yeah.
and that we don't need to like go and buy a bunch of new stuff to and keep up with every single social media trend
No.
or whatever the latest item is. I think that's a whole thing too that we overindulge on
Mhm.
that adds to stress that we don't. like, do we really need that? And is that really helping? I don't think it is.
100%. I totally agree. And I think that's where the more you can like regulate your system and build discernment, because it's so easy. All the shiny marketing, you want to buy everything. It gives you a dopamine high, like, oh my God, that new wreath.
Yeah.
Where could I put that? I could find a place for that. It's so pretty. But then it's like, before you just go buy it all, like take a moment, be like, I'm having the shiny marketing dopamine moment. Let
Yeah.
me think about it for a few days or a week. And then in a week, let me see where I'm at. Cause I used to be like that. I'd literally like
Me
buy
too.
more decorations and like, I'm like, now where do I put everything now that I have to take it down? I'm running out of space. And right. And now I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is all so beautiful. And I'm like, okay, if you want to pick a few new ornaments for the tree, that's great. But otherwise, I'm like, I don't really need anything. And like, I don't want to be overwhelmed of where to put it all like after it's over. And so,
Yeah.
realizing that we can like pace ourselves and yeah, take the pressure off. Like if you love your decor, like be proud of it and be excited. You don't have to be changing it every year, but building your worth and feeling very centered in who you are, I find it helps us detach from needing to keep up with trends, whether it's
Hmm.
Christmas and decorations or clothes or makeup or any of that. It's like, I love who I am. I'm sure of that. Therefore, I can use my discernment and probably save a lot of money and not be in regret of my credit card bill in January,
Right.
right? Because I
Yeah.
agree, there's something so special about bringing out those decorations from when you were a kid and like the nostalgia of it and
Hmm.
like oh, it just feels so
It's
good,
like this
right?
warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yes.
That was a big wake up call for me last year. There is this guy, I don't even know what his name was, like, but I came across him in my feed, and he was like, all of this like beige Christmas decor. He's like, you're ruining Christmas. You're ruining Christmas. It should look like Santa Claus threw up in your living room, and it's just tacky and it's great and it feels like the Christmas when you were a kid. And I was like, he's right. Like,
Yeah.
why am I buying all this stuff? Like, I can hang up the stuff my kids made, or like, it's just,
Yeah.
it had me looking at it different because I totally got caught up in all that. Like, oh, I want the latest thing and it's so
Right.
pretty. And then you're spending all this money. And then the next year, it's a different trend.
Yeah,
And then you want to
exactly.
buy more stuff. And I'm like, this is just ridiculous. Like, I need to
Yeah.
just stop with that. And the tradition is about like the family getting together,
Yeah.
putting up the decorations. It's not the actual decorations, you know?
Yeah, totally. And I think you just brought up a great point is us going back to the roots of what is the holiday all about. It
Hmm.
is about tradition and nostalgia. It is about that warm feeling you get when you're pulling out those decorations or you're making a cup of hot cocoa with your family and going out for a walk and looking at Christmas lights or getting together and making memories and the rest of it just like adds a little more like festivity to your vibe, right? And
Yeah.
so really coming back to like what is it truly all about? And I think regulating your nervous system before you go and buy a bunch of stuff or like get caught up in all the trends will really help you make some of those decisions.
Yeah. I agree. I just think, it just seems like every year we put more and more expectations
Yeah.
on what the holidays are, and we have to have the latest, whatever the latest trend is for a gift
Yeah.
and decor. And it's just so much pressure that seems in the moment like, oh, I got to get the latest thing, but it's
Yeah.
just adding stress
Yes.
and it's taking away from what the holidays are all about. And then that stress, it's like a domino effect. 'Cause then you're stressed, so then you're like, I'm gonna get out the wine bottle,
Yeah.
and then you're drinking, and then two glasses in, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna open up the cookies we baked and
Yeah.
like binge, and it's just a domino effect.
Exactly, exactly. And then the irony is because some people don't eat, they shop, and then they start shopping, and then literally what you just said, they get so stressed about all that that then they eat and drink, and then it just feels this vicious cycle, just chasing all these dopamine highs, right? Trying to numb and soothe all the stress that we're feeling. So pull back and go like, if I could take all the pressure off and I could do Christmas my way, how would I want it to be? If I didn't feel obligated that it had to be about everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
what feels good for me and my family? What actually feels good
Yep.
rather than all this pressure and I have to do all these things and I have to do all this? What actually feels good? Because at the end of the day, it's you and your life, and you have to go to bed with yourself and your body and your thoughts at night. And how do you want to feel? Again, how do you want to feel going to bed through the holidays, coming out the other side? You get to change that. And that's where healing people pleasing is incredibly important in building your worth. Because if you're a people pleaser, you are going to be in full blown people pleasing mode because you do have to give into the obligation of buying everyone that trendy thing and getting your neighbor that you never talk to a gift because oh my God, I don't want anyone to be upset. And you feel obligated and pressured to give and throw the most perfect Christmas because you're worried or afraid if you don't, you will be judged or, you know, you
Hmm.
won't get validated. And building your worth helps you detach from that kind of pressure and just going like, this feels good. This is what I'm going to do. It's okay if people do it differently than me, but like, this is what feels right for me. And when you're in your confidence and your worth, that pressure seriously goes away.
Yeah. And the people pleasing, we tell ourselves it's people pleasing, but I'm like, is it really? Because, when I think about it, it's like, all right, let's say I'm going to go to my friend's Christmas party. Do I want to go and is the most important thing for me that they have perfect decor and everything's
Right.
perfect? No, like I want to
No.
go and I want to laugh and have a
Yeah.
good time and I want them to be like loosened up to like just be real and have fun. And so if you're people pleasing, most likely you're not. You're not relaxed and loosened up. You're
No.
like freaking out that everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
And same with kids, because I used to tell myself like, well, I just want everything to be perfect for the kids. So they like, but they're not going to look back and think like, oh, the cookies were perfect or this was perfect.
Yeah.
They're going to
No.
look back and be like, I had a happy mom
Yeah.
and we had happy memories of like
Yeah.
smiling and having fun. That's the people pleasing. Like that's what really is going to please the people around you if you take care of yourself and do
Yes.
more of what makes you happy. And again, I had it, I'm talking to myself here because I had it twisted for a really long time. And these are just realizations I've kind of had really in the last like couple of years that have
Yeah.
helped me realize I'm not doing anyone any good. And I'm certainly not doing myself any good by trying to make everything perfect.
Yeah. 100%. It robs you of the joy of the moment and it's supposed to be a joyous season,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just one other tip I that just popped into my head as we're talking about this that has personally helped me is I kind of stopped posting on social media that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I would post like the perfect Christmas tree and like post like, oh, we're doing this like family activity and like everyone's got matching clothes or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I quit posting that stuff for the most part. And I think that took away like all of that pressure. Like, who
Totally.
cares? Like, who
Yeah.
cares? No one's going to see it. I'm not posting anything. Who cares? And so sometimes I think maybe during the holidays we could use a little break
Yeah.
from posting because then you're not putting all this unneeded pressure on yourself for things to look like your highlight reel?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And like, why do you feel obligated that you need to post all the perfect pictures? Like, disconnect from your technology more and be present and taking it all in,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, the social media definitely adds another level. If you get caught up in it, it can be so easy to give in,
Yeah.
right? But I think, again, coming back to the basics of taking care of yourself and setting tech boundaries will help you
Hmm.
enjoy the moment more, which is really what it's all about. Because it goes by really fast. And then the next thing you know, it's January and you're packing everything up and you're kind of like, oh, we have like another 11 months until this again. And right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
savor it.
Yeah. Savor it. So let's just wrap everything up because I want to go back to you had good points here. Okay. So plan ahead. Do not fast. Okay. Eating breakfast, lunch, snacks so that you're not binging and overindulging.
Yeah.
Eat as slow as possible. Savor it. Savor it like every little morsel, savor it. And when you do overindulge, instead of beating yourself up, instead have a game plan of, okay, I'm going to go high on protein and fat and hydration to feel better the next day and balance everything out.
Yeah. And get out for a walk, the
Go
ginger
for a
peppermint
walk.
tea. Yeah. Yeah. Those are some of the key things. And take a little self-care time.
Yeah, whatever grounding
Yeah.
is for you, whether it's breathing or um, stepping outside, getting fresh air, like whatever it is, I think that needs to be a priority
Yes.
before every gathering, like
Yeah.
all throughout the holiday season. That is just a good, solid thing to do.
100%. Yeah. And here's the other thing, food for thought. You may reflect if you have a lot of parties and things coming up and going, which ones are the ones I feel like indulging at? And maybe I don't have to actually indulge at them all. And some of them don't have to have everything. Like what feels good for me in my body? What does she have capacity for? And actually ask your body, hey, body, what do you have capacity for? She'll tell you real
Hmm.
fast, but we need to check in.
We need to check in. Okay, I have one other question for you
Yeah.
because I do deal with this all the time. So, what do you do? This again goes back to the people pleasing a little bit, but more like you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, right? Like you're at someone's house, they've made this beautiful meal,
Yeah.
and you're being really mindful. So, you're not like going crazy eating
Yeah.
everything. And they're like, oh, what, you don't like it? Like my dad does that. He'll be like, oh, you're not getting seconds. You must not have liked it. And I'm like, I just don't want to feel like crap. Like
Yeah.
I'm just trying to,
Hmm.
so I think for me, it's like, I got to plan. What am I going to say? I have to have a
Yeah.
plan of like, no, this was a great, I just am full. I
Yeah.
don't want any more. Like setting a
Yeah.
boundary.
Totally. It is about setting the verbal boundaries and just like, yeah, you know what? I am full and I don't want to overeat. I want to feel really good. So I'm going to stop now and maybe I'll have a little more later, but for now, I am good. And what we have to understand is some people literally tie their worth up to that meal. And if we don't eat it all or go for seconds, their inner critic makes it mean that we don't love them or that they're not good enough. And that's their own self worth stuff that they need to deal with. It has nothing to do with you. And you don't have to feel obligated to eat more to appease them because then you're the one that suffers.
Yeah.
So it's just reminding yourself, like, I'm an adult. I get to set my own boundaries. I get to say no if there's something that is being served that I don't want. And if someone asks or makes a comment, I can just say, actually, I don't really care for that. Or actually, that seems to bother my stomach. Thank you, but I just don't want any. No, no
Yeah.
is a complete sentence. And like you holding that, because that will set a standard. And then eventually you just become detached from anyone's opinion or comment. Like
Hmm.
I could care less what anyone has to say. If it's a no, it's a no.
Yeah.
And like I'm going to eat what I want. And if there's things I don't want to eat, I don't eat them. I just am detached.
Yeah.
So practice that and then it will get easier.
Yeah. And same goes for drinking. Like, oh, just have one
Yes.
more, one more. Here, I made it. Have it, try
Yeah.
it. Like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I need some
Totally.
water.
It's up to you to set those boundaries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, I think this is great. I think for me personally, like this is helping me think ahead
Yay.
so that I'm not in the middle of it and like, why did I do this to myself? So I appreciate, as always, I appreciate you coming on. You always have so many good tips.
My pleasure.
Anything else that we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about? Let everyone know too, like where they can find you. Oh, and the other thing is, I thought I will link
Hmm.
we have a workshop that we did together where we talk about a lot of the things that sort of trigger these behaviors and how to regulate your nervous system and your hormones and everything else. So I'll link that in the show notes if anyone wants to go a little bit deeper on what we talked about today.
Yeah, that was such a fun workshop. You guys have to check it out. I think the biggest thing is the look ahead and plan ahead now and set a few boundaries and set yourself up for success. It gets to be different, but you have to take the action and the steps to create a different experience and a different outcome. So really hold yourself to that, that you get to have it all and have some mindful indulgence and enjoy the holidays. And you also get to come out the other side feeling really good physically, emotionally, and energetically. And you don't have to compromise that. So, what is your balance and happy medium? So, that's what I would suggest kind of like playing around with. And then probably prepare to get your hormones tested in January so that you can work on
Yeah,
balancing
I feel like we
anything
need to have
out.
you back on in January so you could tell us what all we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and listen to this episode too again in a few weeks,
Yes.
whenever it's that
Yes.
week where you have everything going on, just as a reminder to
Yes.
calm down. I feel like Amber, I feel like you're just your energy is very grounding. I feel like it calms me down. So just
Good.
just listen to Amber and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Just take your time, do the best you can. You're human, but you will create a better experience if you do bring some intentionality in. So, And then as far as where people can find me, the podcast is the No Sugarcoating podcast. And there's lots of holiday tip, hormones, support, all that kind of stuff, emotional eating. If you want to check that out, it's available everywhere. The website is amberapproved.ca. If you're wondering if you're struggling with emotional eating, you can take the free quiz. And if you want to explore support so that you can navigate the holiday season with more ease, not feel triggered to binge, have more energy, reduce your cravings, prevent weight gain, etc., you can book a 30-minute complimentary consultation and we can connect on Zoom and see how we may be able to work together, including getting your hormones tested so that we can make sure you have energy and mental clarity to enjoy the holidays and not come out the other side being burnt out. So those are the best places to find me.
Oh, perfect. And yeah, I saw you have like over 600 episodes, I think
Yeah.
now on your podcast. Such a good resource. So thank you for coming on. You always have the best tips, and I get
Yay.
so many comments usually like, have we need Amber on again. So I really appreciate you coming on. And if I'm sure I'll talk to you, but if I don't, have
Mhm.
a, great Christmas, great holidays, Happy New Year, and we'll touch base to recap maybe in 2026.
100%. Happy Thanksgiving, happy or Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year, and 100% we will totally be in touch before the end of the year.
Sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next time.